Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about, I have no idea. Hey, Saturday, people. So, yeah, I'm recording on a Saturday. Yes, I'm giving the nuggets right now. We're recording on a Saturday. I was looking, I don't watch much the news because I don't want to be irritated. Yes, I'm talking of the word irritated because we can be triggered very quickly. It's not even irritated equal trigger. But I saw something that was very good from Dolly Parton, and thanks to her, thanks to Elon Musk, to the people who really want to help and are determined to help, to the people who are going on site as well and being threatened by FEMA to be going in jail for trying to help and save other people. That to me is appalling. And we got the situation here. The other thing too we need to look at, and I don't do politics because that's a topics that I'm not generally interested to talk about for the reason that a lot of people get fire it up. But I'm appalled by the situation of the $750 that people should apply from the word of Kamala Harris. They should be applying for the $750, which is appalling, especially when you know that most of those people don't have a way to communicate and to get registered for a loan they have to repay. There is some very fine print, and I put it on Facebook, actually. A gentleman who looked at the contract very closely because they signed a contract saying they have to repay the $750. Now, let's talk about disaster. That you have a fire, that you have a hurricane, earthquake, it doesn't matter which one it is, okay? Per experience, because I'm dealing with this situation as a disaster, after 1 year, I don't have a home. Mine is gone. It's not rebuilt yet. There is a lot of situation around, and I talked about it on my TikTok about the help I receive from the Red Cross. That's why I will never give them money. Well, I will never give them money after the 9/11 situation, and the fact that for the past several years they have been audited and they have shown that money, millions of dollars, that's supposed to go and help over Africa, over other countries, and here are not reaching the people. They basically people embezzling millions of dollars, and the money you put in doesn't even go to the funds where it should help the people in such dire situation. They put that in their general funds as well, which is misleading people, like the blind leading the blind. So I don't give to the Red Cross. I have a big issue with that. And the worst part for me, and it was very hard when I took that decision, I was heartbroken in 2001 because I gave money to them for the firefighters, the cops, and to help people. Then it was discovered a couple months after that they decided to replenish their general funds with it. So the money never went there. It broke my heart because I got trained by two brothers, and that was several decades ago. No, I'm not 200 years old, people, so don't try to count with your fingers because I'm not 200 years old. But I was trained in Europe for the CPR. And those guys, and I went to the Red Cross to get trained for officially having CPR at the national level, actually, because I passed the national level as well. Because I wanted to be, because I was working for the Club Med a long time ago. Yes, and I have the pictures to prove it, and the T-shirt still. I think I do. I think I still have some T-shirt from the Club Med. And no, I'm not going to show you the pictures. Too bad, people, but I do have them. But when I worked over there and I worked on different countries, when you're in a sports area, you want to make sure that you are certified CPR. And I did it at the national level. So I passed the one with those guys. So I was trained by those guys. Then I went and passed the national Dooley Bobber. And yes, I like to use Dooley Bobber as a word. So for me, we had a lot of respect because we have a lot of people who work for the Red Cross who are the first one to arrive on disasters and there, and their dogs and themselves. So those guys that I was being trained by, the twins, they were coming back from a disaster area and they were always on call. So we had a chance to train with them, and they were going to be shipped somewhere else every time there is a disaster, which is, to me, very humbling when you work with this kind of people or you're being trained by those guys. And a lot of respects that comes with. My issue is, after the 9/11, I was sick like a dog when I heard what they did with the money. And I'm not talking about $100, no, millions of dollars. Millions of dollars that were given to them to go to the people of New York who were in dire situation. Now we have a new situation happening, and it's FEMA, and it's this current administration who diverted money for disaster. And I don't know who in their right brain, who is that horrifying person, and it's not even FEMA then I'm going after, because FEMA follow because it's part of the government. So somebody from that administration should be accountable for, because the $1 billion that should cover the disaster, you give them $750 and that's only what you got. That is a problem. They don't have the funds. They don't have anything to help them. There is situation that have been shown that people who are supposed to fly with the helicopter from FEMA don't even do it, and they get paid for it, but they are not doing anything. So that's a problem. I am really concerned about where we're going because those people need help. My disaster is not to the magnitude of their disasters. My disasters, I lost everything. And when I say everything, it's everything. My 5 decades in my life, now you know how old I am, got whipped out in one night. Not even one night. In 6 hours, gone. I had to do my own funeral of my life, literally last year, because everything I have is gone. It was gone. Imagine those guys. They have lost their home, like I did. They are being displaced, like I am. I saved my dogs. Some have lost their life because they did not want it to move without their dogs. One of the biggest issue I see, and I realized when I went through this, and it was a moment for me, is that there is no shelters that will take human and animals. Then I know. None. There is no help for human and animals at the same time. It's either or. I stood my ground, not knowing where I will live, where I will stay, but I said to the universe, I am sticking with my damn dogs. Those are my dogs. Those are my responsibilities. And it's the same for every people who have horses, goats, any cistern. I heard and I saw things happening that appalls me, actually, in regards of comments from people who obviously are too young to open their mouth because they don't have the wisdom and they don't have the life experience than we do. Sometimes it's interesting, actually, when you think when you were younger and you open your mouth and you have no idea, and you're decades later and you're like, whoa, okay, I was just an idiot at that point because I did not had the life that I have, the experience. See, everybody thinks they know better, but through hell, back and forth your entire life, make it about 4 or 5 decades of it, you understand life a little better. When you barely, like we said, push your nose and there is milk coming out of it, like you're a teenager and you think you know better, you don't until you experience this. There is beautiful people who have come across the country to help the East Coast. Some of them are being threatened to go to jail because they're helping them. What is wrong with that picture? The organization on how to help and rescue is literally a shit show. It's not coordinated properly. And the people who are being displaced, I heard a young lady, and I post a lot of things on my Insta that goes down to my Facebook. Actually, the most important one are the one with the connection, like where to go and stuff like that, because I'm putting on mine every post. I need to be a repost because I know if we can continue to repost some of them who have connection, phone numbers, addresses where people can go for their animals and everything else, we can help each other. But I'm appalled by what's going on because I'm looking at my situation a year later. Nobody gives a shit, which is fine because I'm not a victim of circumstances, okay? Life happened for a reason. There are things that happen that it's out of control and you have to change your path. So I accept that. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with the fire. I don't have an issue with any of these things like that. Neither am I bitter because I don't have a home. But I'm looking at those guys. I have been in that shit show for 1 year. I have talked to my lawyer, actually, who was dealing with somebody else's. He's been there for 2 freaking years, 2.5 years, and he's still not in his house for something else. He had something happening to his place, and that was the same circumstances. So imagine for a minute those guys over there. They have no home. And the worst part, when I was listening to this young lady, that really appalled me. So they gave you $750. It doesn't get you what? Mine was what? By the Red Cross when they did nothing and did not help. But it just gave me $350 and that's it. You know, you're single. You don't have children. We don't give a shit. We're not going to help you to find a home. We're not going to help you with shelters. You have to do it on your own. Imagine a little bit. Your life is put upside down. And a day or two later, you have to start to fend for yourself. That's basically what it was. And that's what's happening to those guys over there. You're being displaced. You don't know how to pay the rest of the bills. You cannot work. Even as a business owner, you cannot work because you have to deal with your disaster. You have to think about the safety of your animals. People are not opening their door because you have animals. They don't. They will open the door for you. But ditch the animals. And to me, that appalls me. And I say, no, I'm staying with my dog, so I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I'm dropping a bad word. Too bad. But those guys, it's going to take years to rebuild the infrastructures. Do you think the government's going to pay the infrastructure? No, they're not. They're going to delay shit like there's no tomorrow. That's the problem. That money from FEMA that is gone to go somewhere else is appalling to me. We are not in this country, and I'm going to say it, we are not a refugee camp for Salvation Army for everybody that decide to show up. Unless you need asylum for a reason, I have no issue with asylum. But when you got things happening that doesn't make any sense, then the money disappeared, and they're telling you, oh, you went for the migrant crisis or anything else like that. And I have an accent, people. That's a problem. We have hurricanes, and that touch everybody. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, purple, where you come from. It affected an entire region. the East Coast, 3 states. Mismanagement of money, that is appalling to me. And this is what has been happening right here, right now. And I normally don't do politics because I don't give a crap. But I'm talking because I'm infuriated. Because $750 for people, knowing that the hotels are hiking their pricing at $400 a night over there now, just because they think they can make more money. Those people should have a voucher to be able to go to the hotels. Where are the freaking voucher? I remember when I was talking here, they did it for a while in Minnesota to give voucher to homeless people to find a place to stay during the winter. They need those voucher over there to force those hotels to accept those family and animals. People have lost everything. Their world have been put upside down. They're still searching for their loved ones. They love their pets. They lost their pets. It's going to take years before this can go back to normal. But where is the money? The other thing is, where do we give the money and where is that money going? I love the fact that Dolly Parton's giving money, but where is she giving the money for and how is it going to be spent? Because the problem is you can raise millions and millions of dollars. It's funny because I've not seen Oprah. I've not seen Dwayne Johnson showing up over there yet, unless I missed it. You know, look at Maui. Look at what happened with Maui. It's not being rebuilt. It's still a mess. After how many years? There is a problem with FEMA. There is a problem with the wills of the government and people who are in a dire need. When you leave with your clothes on, and that's the only thing you've got, that sucks. And I speak per experience. I was lucky enough to find an angel named Jerry who helped me. I have the IOC, which is Interfaith Outreach, who were kind enough to open their store and allow me, and I'm still wearing their clothes actually, who allowed me to get a jacket, 2 pair of pants, socks, undergarment to help me. I don't remember if I had a pair of shoes. I don't think I had a pair of shoes, those guys. But they helped me. I cannot wrap around my mind and my head that those guys gonna go through hell over there. Some people are still stranded in the mountains. Help is coming because some people are dedicating their helicopters, their time. Vets are doing the same thing. They want to help. That's what they do. I know today is a day that, yes, I was talking about Halloween and now I'm talking about this because to me, and it's going to be in November, people assume when you don't hear it in the news because that's not what we want to cover, then it's ignored. No, it's not. Because those people are struggling and they will continue to struggle. Look at what happened with Louisiana, with New Orleans. It's not, you go to some areas over there, it's not never been cleaned. It's been ignored. So that to me is appalling. There should be something better and people should be accountable for that money because now those 3 states are paying a high price because there is no fundings. I am glad that Walmart sends 60 trucks full of supplies. I am glad that people are sending animals food, water, and everything else to help. Medication. Now we got drones flying over to help and deliver medication. Some people don't want to move out of the mountain, and I don't blame them. To go where? They just want their life back. They want their home. So think about where we are and think about when you're looking at everything we're going through, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Seriously. It's appalling to me. It's literally appalling. I am not pleased with the situation that we have been in because of the money. And it's shocking that someone will take an idiotic decision to spend billions of dollars on something else when we're not even done with hurricane seasons. We're October, should stop what, next month, something like that. And this is brutal. I don't know. What are we supposed to do? But somebody should be paying. But I'm sure they're going to find an scapegoat like they always do. Somebody else is going to be the boogeyman when in fact it's government and decision and signature have been made at the level of the government. It saddens me very, very much. It saddens me that money that should help those guys is not going to go there. And I'm not going to go back to the Red Cross because how disappointed I am, and I don't trust those people. I don't trust those big organizations anymore. I used to, that was the American Cancer Society. It's still happening. I'm not part anymore because I volunteered for a few years there. And they had a huge garage sale. But you know what I liked with that? Is they made $500,000 of raising money. However, the difference was we were part of a steering committee, and those ladies, when they created that in 1969, that was the first one they created it for the American Cancer Society here. So they run it every year. What they did is that they made a point to know where the money goes. It wasn't like give you the check and that's it. It's looking at where it was going for research and cure. It wasn't paying anyone's salary. Everything was basically audited and reported. And it was nice to be part of such a volunteering group and see how the ladies were working. That to me really empowered me to work with those guys. And it's still one of the biggest garage sales that the Cancer Society has. That makes that amount of money very quickly. But it's a lot of work. But it's worth it because we know where the money went. And it went all for research, at the exception of renting some of the warehouse and the storage for the truck and the gas for some of the expenses to grab, because year round they would come and pick up and grab everything. You know, if you wanted to give it, they verified that it was in good condition, blah, 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 and they will store it till the garage sale. So we had trailers and trailers and trailers of items from, it was like a big store. It was like Montgomery Wards, or it would have been a warehouse, and it was all store. So you got kitchen, appliances, you had everything, sporting goods, clothes, all that you can find. But at the end of the day, those two ladies who were at the head of it, who were running the show, knew where the money was going, and it was only going for research. So my question is when you're looking how some of the branch of the government and stuff like that are running things, it's pretty bad. Too many red tapes. That is not beneficial for people. And that $750, it's appalling to me. Literally appalling. Seriously. And the worst part is when you hear somebody say it on TV, well, you got to apply for it. You idiot. Yes, I said the word idiot. How is people stranded? No way of communicating, because some are still not able to communicate. How do you think they're going to go and apply for it when you're in the middle of a disaster? How stupid you got to be. Seriously. That to me is appalling. Obviously, those people have never lost anything in their life, never been through a disaster, because they would have been through a disaster like I did, like the people right now are doing, like people in Louisiana have done. They will understand. Seriously. It's idiotic. Something's got to change. Something's got to change. So, this was our podcast for today. I know it's a little bit more, I'm not going to say brutal, but I'm going to say what I got to say because I'm totally appalled by it. And I think I'm going to even move this podcast, switch with something else because I'm totally appalled by it. I don't know what we're thinking here, but this is not, and it should not happen, and it's happening right now. So, in mismanaging billions of dollars to spend it somewhere else, it's unacceptable, especially when we have hurricane season, especially when we have disaster like that. That to me is horrifying. It's opening the door to really bankrupt the US, and that's scary. So, all my love, guys, and I will talk to you later.
Where do we go from here?
Amy's Universe Podcast.